All right, you know what's up first. I'm gonna push Christina to tell a story and tell me something good because it really is. You know what story I want you to tell, right? Yeah, right. Because it really is. It just shows. It just shows us. I think it just illustrates to us all the importance of staying connected and being of service, even when there's nothing in it for you.
So I had a client that came to me and wanted to purchase a unit in a condominium building that I actually sold to the seller that's selling now. That was my previous listing. And anyways, so the buyer came and the previous buyer's agent was now the listing agent. So our roles were reversed. And we were in a multiple situation. We made our offer. We were over 10,000 below the other higher offer, but I got our offer accepted yesterday because my positive working relationship in our last previous transaction, how we ended it well. And I kept positive rapport with the seller because when he moved into that building, because I'm familiar with it, he would reach out to me for tedious questions, which I could have blew off, but I was very always prompt in my response to and try to be as supportive as possible with my information. And then so all of that in a few years, they'll come back to current time when we submitted the offer. The leverage that we had was my positive relationship with the seller and my positive relationship with the previous escrow with that agent as well. So that made more than over 10K in purchase. We were really capped.
And he probably would have used her to represent him, but this was like a college friend of his that helped him buy the property to begin with, right?
Right.
And so it's just it just illustrates the importance of
it's not always about the money. You know, at the end of the day, it's about relationship.
The money comes. The money comes for sure. Excellent. Anybody else? Tell me something good. Anybody? Really? It's that bad.
I have something along
First,
line.
please, Andy.
I had a client who sent the semester yesterday. He's a longtime friend from high school. We reconnected over Instagram, they do mortgages and so forth. And he's like, oh, sure, no problem. Long story short, he gets pre-qualified months ago. He starts looking, I go into your agent information. I want to reach out. He's like, oh, all that. He sends me over the agent information. Turns out his agent I worked with 25 years ago in lending. And she, when in May, when the crash happened, she went and started selling houses. I love the mortgage industry. So I went to high school with him. I worked with her 25 years ago.
Oh, a tangled web you weave, Andy.
What's that?
Oh, a tangled web you weave.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but we got the offer accepted, and like you're saying too, it's lower than the highest offer. But we got it accepted because of my relationship with her, and then also of course reaching out to her. So
It's a theme for this business, not just for this week, right? In the relational part, we have to, in moments like this, it's even more important to getting close and to see how you can be of value. This is where, this is where where it's obvious that we earn our money, right? We always earn it in the process and the knowledge and the mastery we bring to the process. But it's more obvious in these moments that mastery is necessary, and sharing it with other people in an open way, I think is even more important. And I would argue that in really vibrant markets, we pick up bad habits, and we forget about the importance of these relationships and pouring into other people. And that this is a good time to rebuild that muscle of connection between yourself in your spirit.
Hey, Joey, can I
It's
just give
fun.
you an example? So it's such a good lesson to learn that your relationship with other agents are just as
Oh, yeah.
important, if not more important sometimes, than connecting with, well, obviously they're equally as important, connecting with your clients, but connect with agents. And there was an example not too long ago where I actually dumped a client of mine because I felt like they started to show me in a bad light. And because they weren't listening to me, they were going, doing things I asked them not to do, that the other agent asked them not to do. And finally I said, listen, I can't work with you because this is not how I work. And this is not how our industry works. And in doing that, granted, it was great because you're free when you let go of a client that is the succubus. But at the same time, I then called the agents that I feel that he had done some things that we had told him not to do, like don't go to the property and knock on the door, like stupid things that we, it was making me look bad. And so they were like, no, everything's fine. But that is so important because I then down the road ran into that agent again with another client. My offer was accepted. If I had gone forward with that other person, they probably would have thought that I had bad business practice and wasn't very professional. So
Absolutely. And to your point, your brand with other agents is incredibly important. And who you associate yourself with is a reflection, can be a reflection of that too. So, yeah, agreed. Yeah. Anybody else tell me something good? Oh, Kristen down there. I didn't know that she's back today. Welcome back.
I have a great, my husband is coming home in 9 days after 7 months. 7 months. We saw him over summer, but he was working away and back.
Bring it home back.
Yeah. That's the best a lot.
Right. Run up for the winter.
I'm sorry.
We got for the winter.
Yeah, hopefully. Unless another.
Excellent. Hopefully the job's here. All right, excellent. Anybody else? Okay, let's. Can't hear. Sorry, Michelle. How about now? Could you hear? I was stepped away from the mic. All right, let's go to the next one. So Damasio, are you on there? Could you hear me? So Damasio sponsored a team in El Salvador.
Yeah, I'm here.
Who knew that people played beach soccer? But you want to talk about this a little bit, Damasio?
Of course, I want to talk to you about.
Yeah, Brian's on his way to try to fix that. Damasio, we'll get back to you, but I'll just tell him a little bit about it. So it was
Sure.
It was a beach soccer tournament all over El Salvador, and he sponsored this team. This team, you can't see it, but his banner says Keller Williams Larchmont and Damasio's information. And guess what? People have seen it, and he did it because he wanted to support his country and this sport. But people have seen it, and he's had conversations with people who are back and forth to Los Angeles, of course, right? And
Yes.
and he's gotten some opportunities from it. Are you on now, Damasio?
Yes, I am.
Say
Yes, I am.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go. All right.
Yeah. First of all, good morning, everyone. I have to
You
apologize
okay?
by not being in the office, but I'm on the golf course. Anyway, I'd like to take this opportunity to share this. I have been engaged with sports most of my life, and I go El Salvador back and forth, and I've been also connected with the sports here in LA and the education in El Salvador as well. So I decided to, first of all, I was approached to a person that has a soccer team here in LA and also have a connection with the beach soccer in El Salvador and a few other, high regarded figures in soccer. So they approached me and asked me if I wanted to sponsor something. But I just want to make clear, don't think that this is a hot shot. The sponsorship, I just simply put a humble amount of money, and they asked me to make a banner. And as I mentioned to you, Joy, I requested permission to use KW Larchmont's office and display it in the banner. And you just gave me the okay. So I went over ahead and did the banner, and this banner was displayed in 3 different places in El Salvador. And anybody who is familiar with the country, either or, we have several soccer stadiums, and we went over La Costa del Sol beach soccer stadium, and that was the first place my banner was displayed, and also that was the 14th of this month, and by the way, this is near the airport. Yeah, so it was displayed there. Then the second time they went over to San Miguel, which is another soccer stadium. In there, they display my banner, and the third day was displayed in Santa Ana, when soccer stadium, Oscar Quiteño. And why am I doing this? First of all, Keller Williams doesn't have any rep in El Salvador. And since I am engaged in real estate here in LA and also in El Salvador as well, I'm an independent real estate over there. So I said, well, I just decided to put my office name, my name and my license and everything, and be of a source for people who travels back and forth to El Salvador and LA and also to the US. And guess what? They also connect me with the El Salvador Chamber of Commerce here in LA. And I also got connected with a construction contractor here in LA, and also an investor, just because of that. And I just said, wait a minute, I only spent a few bucks on this, and now I got all these people that have been reaching out to me. But, at the end, what I'm trying to do is 2 things. One is to market myself nationally and internationally as well. And of course, I belong to KW Larchmont office, which I'm very proud of it. And thank you for the opportunity to be part of it. So, and from now on, I'm just going to continue doing that, in a regular basis whenever I have the opportunity. And last but not least, I took a moment to visit an underserved schools and in the area where I'm going to try to develop a sports center. And I share some toys, school supplies and everything that I could bring over. And, they made a meeting in the school. We got together with the kids. We got some other stuff, doing together. And, this is for the benefit of the education, but also it's connected with the sports. So, hopefully this works pretty well along the way. And, I'm very proud of belonging to KW Larchmont office. So hopefully something works pretty good along the way. So that's pretty much it.
Thanks, Tomasio. And it's really,
That's amazing.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I love about it is you're pouring into something you care about, and in that, people who also care about that are responding to you as a business person. So congratulations. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, next we have.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Next we have new continuing education requirements. We'll put this out every week for a while. So starting in January, anyone who gets licensed after January 1st of next year or later will have to complete the following courses: implicit bias course and the fair housing course. It is added to continuing education moving forward. So it's not, to my understanding, it's not adding any more hours to continuing education. It's just 2 classes inside of those necessary maximum hours. So was it 18? No, I thought it was more than 18. Oh no, right, minimum of 18 for consumer protection courses. Okay, all right, yep. So that, and guess what? The DRE, you can go off the board and pay to have these classes, but the DRE supplies these classes for free. I know Eileen did it one time. She said it was like a Saturday, one day. It's free, yeah, but it's a one-day thing.
It's not free. It's
Oh, it's
75.
not free. Oh, I thought it was free from them. No, I thought it was free with membership. How much was it, you think?
I think 75. I think I checked the link. I think it was like
$75. Okay. All right, well, there you
As
go.
opposed to like how much for a paid service, like
Yeah.
Tuesday place, whatever,
100 and
125 or something
Yeah.
like that.
it's not hugely different. All right, there you go, continuing education. And then I think we're gonna have John with with our very own, John Barrett, to give us an update on, the car meeting that, just went on and all the new and fascinating things that are coming, hopefully, or maybe not hopefully, coming down the pike. Yeah, well.
John, you wanna come here so people can see you on the virtual meeting or?
At least stand closer to here so we have the mic.
Okay,
So we're here, but
as
well.
long as I get on this side of the light.
Yeah.
And now now I have my back to you, which is weird. Well, thank you. That
There you go.
genius. You can't stand there the whole time.
No, but.
Ta-da, all good. Yeah, a lot of great things came out of CAR. The meetings were last week in Long Beach. We have 3 during the year. This was the fall meeting. And a lot of things coming your way. Some things we voted on that are going through the legislature that we will see whether or not it comes out. More than likely will. The most interesting one of those is the first time that it has been mentioned that now climate change, sea level rise, and wildfire will be added to the hazard booklet. So it's the first time that anything regarding sea level change and climate change has been put in writing to the public via real estate. So I find that interesting, and there's going to be a lot more conversation to be had around that. Yes. Yeah, that too. A lot of conversation around natural hazard disclosure reports, and Mindy can certainly speak to this as well, regarding the fire hardening disclosure that now has to go out. And so we haven't dealt with that a lot. If you're in the flats, you won't be hearing much about it, although occasionally we do get surprised by properties that we have that do show up in high fire severity zones that are not in what we would consider the hills. So if you're on the listing side of the transaction, get that NHD, get it ordered, get it right up front, because you want to deal with all of this in advance so that if you have to deal with the fire department actually coming out, that there's a reasonable time to do that, and you won't, and your escrow and your listing won't be delayed. Most of the time, the fire department already has in their database. They mostly don't have to go to the properties. Depends on where the property is, of course, but most of them are in the database and don't have to be visited in order for the fire hardening disclosure to be done. But get on top of that. There is a CAR, there's a video online at CAR that will talk all about the form. There's a lot of confusion around the fire hardening form. So the easiest thing to do, rather than me going through the minutiae of it, is watch the video, ask lots of questions, right?
Rachel also has a class, we have a class that he taught.
Oh, good.
That one form.
That one form, exactly. It's a lot. The other thing that came out is there was a really great luncheon with all of the forecasts coming, sort of where we're winding up with on the projections for 2022 and the forecast for 2023 across the board statewide. Economist Jordan Levine, who is the new Leslie Appleton Young, they're forecasting on average, so average, 8.8% decline in prices over the next 12 to 14 months.
Where?
Right? Statewide.
State.
So when you think about that and you think about, okay, well, it's going to be heavier in some areas. I would think those would be more rural areas, probably not quite as heavy in major metropolitan areas where there's more demand. So I think we're probably, my guess would be we're looking at less than that. We're probably in that 4 to 5 range would be my gut on it. And we're hearing that from others. So, but it was an interesting economic luncheon around, you know, with the fire hose of information and slides and information out. I would imagine all of that is also going to show up on the CAR website. So check that out.
And that was each month projection, John?
Over by the end of 2023, right? So that's about a 14-month forecast out at this point. So 333,000 transactions in the state next year. So that's 666,000 sides, which is still a significant amount of business. It's just a matter of us getting in the middle of a lot of that. But that is down 19% from this year. I'm sorry, this year was down 19% from the previous year, that would only be down another 7%. So what we felt this year in the market and the tightness of it and the difficulty in bringing things, to escrow, should be lessened. That feeling of it should be lessened next year, although we're still going to be battling the indecision of buyers regarding interest rates and values. And, am I stepping into the market and has it hit the bottom, and where are we? And, all of those conversations. We have to dust off those muscles that we developed in 2009 and 2010. For those of you that weren't here, you will arrive at conversations around this, right? So it just becomes a scripts and dialogues conversation, right? And more training around that. There were the most interesting meeting of the year always to me is risk management. And that's a lot of what Ridge, of course, deals with. A couple of really great attorneys spoke. You learn from the mistakes of others and the examples that they give you, right? So there was a lot of information that came through. A lot of this you will know already, but just as a reminder, always source. There's still a lot of lawsuits around square footage. Always source the square footage that you're quoting. Even if you were doing it verbally, best that it be done in writing so that you actually have a record of it. Sign the rejection of offers. So if you're on the listing side and you've got multiple offers, best practice is to sign or have your client sign the rejection of all offers, which eliminates any question about whether the offer was actually seen and presented to the seller. So it just cleans everything up a bit. Yes.
Sign on each one.
There is a rejection. There is an initial at the bottom on each offer. So if you've got multiple offers, you've got 5 offers, you're signing one, you're hopefully taking a backup, and you're signing off on that you rejected 3 others, right? So just best practice around that. Document your files as you go, which we are all guilty of not doing in a big, or most of us, me included, are not on top of in a great way. Follow up any important conversation with an email, with a text, memorialize it in some way, at least get it in your daily book or journal so that you're taking notes as you go, so that if you have to go back and recreate something, you've got it and you've got it there, and you don't have to rack your brain for, what may have happened 18 months, 36 months ago.
You're participating broker or agent, come to some agreement or have a conversation about the nuance of taking a deal or an action and deal or a term of the deal. On a conversation, follow it up with a detailed email saying, hey, this is just to memorialize what we just spoke about.
That's it.
Right.
And it goes to your client, and it can also be between you and other agents, right? So just getting it in writing in some way. There's been a lot of conversation about brokers doing open houses for other brokers outside the brokerage. There is no, and there's conflicting information around this, but Gov Hutchison, who's sort of CAR legal guide, stepped and said, there is no law against this. You simply have to have 2 forms of disclosure. It has to be disclosed to the seller, from the listing broker to the seller, that I'm having an agent outside our company hold this house open. That has to be clear. Part 2 is it also has to be clear from that agent sitting that open house that day that this is not my company's listing, right? So everyone that walks in the door has to be made aware that I am not a part of this company that has this listed in any way. So you've got two different tracks of disclosure to make if you're holding an open house or someone else is holding something open for you. It is a liability. Then you've also got E&O, and I don't know where we are on that.
The seller has a contract with the listing broker.
Yes.
And in that contract annuls them of certain, hey, somebody steals something in an open house. That annuls them of, that it annuls their listing brokerage of any responsibility in that. But it doesn't annul anyone who is outside that brokerage. They don't have a contract with me.
Right, correct.
They have a contract
With the brokerage itself. Yes.
So in that, they're like, hey, that's stolen, you weren't there, and you're not responsible.
But who ultimately is, and so it creates confusion around that. Disclose, don't diagnose was a really great quote. Always disclose, but do not diagnose the source of the issue. Yes, Mindy, you're on that. And source the source, don't be the source. Right? So always source the information that you're providing, and you are not that source, right? So again, back to documentation and things in writing. If you get a call or and Eileen, I believe you were dealing with this. Weren't you dealing with an ADA website situation you got reported? Yeah, so CAR is defending those now free of charge. So if any of you get, well, there's been a thing. And so what they found was there's one attorney that had blanketed, it was like, just letters went out. The same letter went out to 80 different agents that they were able to document. And like, okay, enough of this. So CAR is defending those now. It's on the house. So you just call CAR legal if you get that. The interesting part of it is that while that is actually happening and threats are being made and agents' time is being taken up, there is actually no specific legal requirement for an ADA compliant website. Everybody thinks it's wonderful. Everybody would like to have one. Well, we have one. Everybody should have one. And yet there is no specific legal requirement of exactly what that means to be ADA compliant. I find that fascinating. American Disabilities Act. So how hearing impaired, visually impaired people can actually work your website and get the information that they need. No virtual tours without listing agent's permission, of course. We all should know that. Here's an interesting one. There's a company out there called Home Options. And Home Options are contacting probably elderly, as you can imagine, for the most part, sellers, and giving them money, giving them between $3,000 and $5,000, which doesn't sound like a lot of money sort of here, but all across the state of California, they're giving people money for the opportunity of a future listing on their home. That opportunity for a future listing is then recorded on the deed, which means that either you've got to list your property in the future with this company. I've looked at them online, and they will also allow you to choose the listing agent of your choice in the future if it isn't them, as long as they're paid a referral fee. So it's a racket. Prelim has never been more important. Pull preliminary title on anything that you list and get a look at that right up front, because whoever it is, maybe someone that did it and now is incapacitated. They just don't remember they did it. There are a lot of, there's a lot of stuff out there along these lines. And that one, yeah, fascinating. There are, and it's nationwide. I'm sorry, it's predominantly California. They are also operating outside of California. There are certain counties that are now refusing to record those liens. So LA County is not on board with that yet, but a couple of people mentioned that in their county that they will no longer take those liens. So I can't answer that. Well, it's like a mechanics lien. I mean, there's in the paperwork that the people are signing. I mean, obviously it says in there, and this goes as as a lien on title, and that has to be cleared up. Josephine. Home Options.
It's a lien for the $3,000. Can't be a lien for services.
It is a lien for future services.
Wow,
Right?
that's a lot of money.
Tied to 3 to 5K. Like, if you own a home, we'll give you $5,000 today. Contact us. That's what it says on the website, right? So it's really interesting and a little sad. Amendments, right? Just one more. Amendments have expiration dates, addendums do not. So anytime that we're in escrow, it is an amendment to the contract, not an addendum to the contract. And there is some conflicting language on some forms. CAR will make changes. Those are coming out the beginning of next year. So some of the things that are titled addendum now, and I can't think of one off the top of my head, you probably can't. An addendum to the contract will change to amendment to the contract. Because once you've got a deal, you're doing amendments instead of addendums, because amendments have an expiration date. Addendums do not. So it's difficult to offer someone something without them having the ability, without that offer actually expiring at some point, right? So amendments have expiration dates in them. So anytime a change is made, anytime a proposal is made, it would be done on an amendment to the contract, right? All right.
The offer of that change.
The offer for that change to be made to the escrow will expire because it's got to.
Seller to credit buyer $5,000.
Would be on an amendment. Well, that's on an RR. I mean, that's on a request for repair form. So yeah, but if you're changing if you're changing a close date, right? So if you're doing something once you're inside escrow and you're changing the terms of the contract itself, that's done with, because if it's not agreed to, at some point it expires, whatever's set forth in the doc, right? As opposed to an addendum, which just floats out there, and how are you going to ever enforce it because it's got no time limit? Interestingly, yesterday I got a counter offer from an agent that said, closing 21 days or longer. What do you do with 20? I'm like, I know you mean well, but what do you do with 21 days or longer?
Are you sure
Right.
you bring for it and say?
Right? She that right? So she's like, I don't know how it happened. You just change. So it's like, no, you have to change. Your clients have to resign. Your clients have to resign this. So interesting. 21 days or longer. Anyway, so things have to have an expiration date. Otherwise, how do you hold anybody accountable to anything in the contract that you're doing? Let's see. If laws change during the course of escrow, do we have to abide by the new law? Or are you governed by the previous law? You were governed by the law that was in place at the time that escrow was ratified. The time that escrow was, yeah, really interesting. So I was like, absolutely. Landlords, if we're dealing with leases, it is suggested that landlords have a clear idea and documentation of who the ideal tenant is for them, so that discrimination becomes less of an issue. We're looking for someone with this credit score, with this amount of money in the bank, that, you know, that does or does not have pets, that, you know, whatever, anything that can be documented that isn't already discriminatory. A profile should be made of what the tenant, or what we're looking for the tenant for this property. And then it should be done on a first come, first served basis, not like, oh, we're gathering up 20 applications and we're going to pick one, right? So leaving ourselves open for more conversation around discrimination. Like, why did you choose this one instead of that one? I was the first one in. What's wrong with me if I meet the qualifications, right? So chronological order is the best way to go about this.
That profile needs to.
No, just it needs to be memorialized, just in an email, in a wherever. Probably also helpful to be publicized. Like it will, you can publicize. Like if we're looking for a minimum FICO score of 700, then, you know, why not pop it out there so that you don't have people with 575 applying? That is the thing to do. Yes. Yeah, my understanding. Yeah. Yes. So it gets on the Zillow and all of the others. So it gets pulled.
Credit score, I'm so sorry, is like, okay, to have like.
Credit score is not discriminatory to my knowledge. That's not a protected class of anything. Pets are not protected either. So unless it's a service. Yes. But which are not considered pets. So those are not, those are not considered pets. Lots of new rental laws. There's a lot around domestic violence, too much to go into, but just know if you're dealing with the leasing side of it and you're dealing with landlords very much and you're advising, they really need to look into domestic violence. The laws have changed around it significantly. If you've got clients that have taken the property tax portability and they're calling and complaining about that they just got a huge tax bill, that tax can be deferred until the paperwork is actually processed, because a lot of tax offices are behind on that. So if they've gotten their paperwork in and they're just waiting and yet they've gotten this huge bill, they do not have to pay that bill, and that's handled through the tax assessor's office. So that can be done. What else do y'all want to know? The other really wonderful thing that came out of CAR this year was that along the lines of discrimination, that CAR is now issuing a formal apology for actions that were taken in 1964 and 65. In 1964, the Rumsfeld Fair Housing Act was passed in the state of California. CAR, which was then the California Real Estate Association, which was then the California Real Estate Association, then actively campaigned and put a Proposition 14 on the ballot, which was ultimately then passed in the state of California, which was then defeated in the Supreme Court as being discriminatory. But CAR is apologizing for all of the previous actions around any discrimination that has taken place. I can tell you it was quite a debate to see, and 800 people in a room and people at microphones talking about all sorts of things that were, well, shocking and not shocking. About, well, I wasn't there, why am I responsible? And a lot of shirking of responsibility, but ultimately the body did the right thing and it passed overwhelmingly. That it was time to make an apology for things that have been done in the past. So that was a nice way to sort of leave it on the last day, and everybody walked out feeling great about that. Questions that I can answer for any of you, other than legal things, which I.
This was all great.
All right. Thank you. There's a lot, and yeah, and call me and talk about any of it. Well, I'm not a leasing expert. So previously, the person that was the victim was able to be released from the lease, and the perpetrator stayed in the property. Now it is the flip of that. So now it is the perpetrator who actually has to go. There are a lot of questions around what proof do I need as a landlord. There are, hang on a second, I've got a couple of other notes about that I can tell you. The issue then becomes what happens if, and this happens, what happens if the victim invites the perpetrator back to the property? Like, oh, we made up, right? What happens. And then what happens from there? So there's a lot of confusion around it, and a lot of legal potholes for landlords, as you might imagine. Clint. Yes. Yes. As you can imagine, that would all be a big, messy, gray area. And a lot of people felt that it was cleaner before to allow the victim to leave, because then the victim can go and be anonymous, right? New law, everybody knows where the victim is. Victim is still in the unit, or could still be in the unit, right? So a lot of people were not happy with the law that came down. So, and I don't know a lot of background about it, and that's not my world, but just know that if you're dealing with that, if you're having conversations with any of your clients that are leasing regarding domestic violence, that there's a lot to look into, and they should be speaking with a qualified California real estate attorney who really, further than that, deals with specializes in landlord tenant rights. All right. Great job. Okay. So, thank you.
All right. John, that was amazing, and it got my brain going on so many different levels. All right, next we have is Francis online, or he just it's just the event at Tate? I thought, is he talking? Introduction. But is he online? Okay, so welcome to our new president of KY, Keller Williams Young Professionals. He is an agent in the Los Feliz office, Francis De Castro. We will be seeing more of him. He'll pop into our office and tell us about what's going on with the KWYP, right? Also, Broker Caravan. The fun never stops. Every week, Tuesday, between 11 and 2. There's so much on Caravan, right? I mean, there's so much to see. Yep. Oh yeah, he's just writing it for the people. Yes.
So first, I just want to clarify, this is not just for new agents, for everybody. Like, it's a great practice.
So it's not just, they were flagging me. So it's not just for new agents, it's for everybody, because being out there and seeing properties, I believe, is part of being a realtor. Seeing things, comparing things, starting to have references in certain areas. When you're driving around, you see signs, you see parks, you see grand openings. So like, it's really an education in the areas that we're working. So I would love, if seasoned agents would also join us. Yeah. And, so I map them out. What I'm going to be doing is alternating weeks. 1 week, like next Tuesday, we'll start here, and we all meet here. We jump in as few cars as possible. Sometimes there's a few people that need to come back early, so maybe they'll be in one car and come back to the office early. And then the alternating week, we'll meet somewhere else. Like yesterday, we started in Echo Park, because that way we're not losing the time of gathering here and getting there. So we did Echo Park, Los Feliz, Silver Lake. We did that area yesterday. So just know that alternating, we'll be here and then out. So you can always text me. My method now is to send Paula the list on Monday so that she's ready for Tuesday. She'll send out the list of properties. So let's say you can't come right at the beginning. You can always meet up with us. Like Zoe yesterday met us at property number 4. And then we proceeded to caravan from there. So again, we try to get in as few cars as possible. If you want to drive your own, of course you can, but it's more fun to go together. So yeah, please join us.
Thanks, Sam. All right, next we have Jeff Yarborough. That's today, 1 to 3 p.m. at the Directors Guild at 7920 Sunset. If you have already RSVP'd for it, I believe. I believe it's sold out.
We gotta go.
Okay. Right next is
Tracy, can you guys take notes and maybe share some golden nuggets?
I think it's like, we signed the like video release form, so I'm sure that he's gonna be like uploading the recording.
all right, Keller Williams Larchmont October Mixer is at Short Stories Restaurant. That's on Fairfax, cute little outdoor space. And that is next Thursday. Is that the 27th? Is that correct? Yep. Okay. Spooky, kooky, spooky.
Like the former farmer's daughter.
Tart. Yeah, the restaurant. Yeah, Tart. Yeah. Upcoming classes. The morning show, not to be missed. Lauren and Tracy. Me on Fridays. It's a barn burner every day, and I enjoy it every day. Get on there. It's for everyone. It's a great way to start your day. You can just listen. You can participate. You can just smile at Lorna's vibrance. Right? There's something to be had every day. I really do love it. Next is Power Hour between 9 and 10, and then at night, Chrissy's doing it, and she's doing it well. 10 to 11:30 every day through the 28th. She goes this whole cycle of Ignite, 22 classes Ignite is now, and she does the whole cycle once a month. So
And they're amazing and they're recorded.
and they're recorded.
If you have.
And they're for everyone.
Coming up and you haven't done one in a while, like go in and watch her videos. And here's a little secret, not for new agents, but for seasoned agents, here's a little secret. You can speed up the speed.
Oh, I love that.
1.5.
New agents, don't do that because you want to get it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's.
And everyone can have access to it. When you click on the link, it just takes you to Christie's page. You put your email in and go start. All right, perfect. KW Tech for this week is create email signatures and social media posts tomorrow, then listings and landing pages on Friday, and then Command app overview on Monday, Command overview Tuesday, and Database 101. All important, Scott Malloy. Working with Buyer Samantha, that is on Zoom, Thursday, tomorrow. Tomorrow, 12:30, 1:30. Samantha is going to be doing working with buyers on Zoom. All welcome. You want to throw down on that anymore?
No, just say,
Nuance?
Christy doing the full on each topic.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna talk more
Deep
about
dive.
the bullet points and stuff about the same thing, but she goes into depth about all the different.
Excellent. All right. Rich Paisani, he has a class. Class been canceled. Boom. There you go. Well,
There you go.
I have my reading skills, so I'm not as fast as they used to be. So Rich's class today was for the 26th, which is next week, has been canceled. He'll be back, yes. Clouded preliminary title reports. David Ehrlich's going to be doing a class on how to solve those issues inside of an escrow. That's at between 12 and 1 on the 27th. That's next week also, right? Right, today's on this one, is the 18th, right, 19th. Just trying to get my time and space.
It's gonna be,
That's on Zoom, yeah. All right, let's get started with the core services. Andy, we have the lovely Andy with us today.
I got my leak situated. In my house, yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. November 2nd, I will be here. My bosses will be here. All three of them. We're bringing lunch. Be here, be square. In terms of update, I hope everybody opens the emails that I sent. I sent one Friday with a YouTube link, 30 minutes long, worth every second of it. Please watch. I don't want to keep sounding like a broken record. Lots of really great information. Hopefully it helps you go back to your clients, your buyers, your sellers, your potential clients, anybody, if you're having coffee with a friend. Hopefully it helps you relay real valuable information on what's actually happening in the market.
Are you sending them out from a list of power providers? Because I don't know very well.
I don't know.
Yes.
Maybe, when I know that it's out, maybe talking.
Okay. It's not that I feel like it was a couple weeks is all that I got an updated list, but I'll get it updated. I'll resend it. Just please do yourself a favor. I mean, you know, again, I sound like a broken record every single week, but it's really important for all of us to stay on top of where the market is, where it's going. There's a lot of misinformation and information that misguides folks all over the news, right? Bad headlines and scary headlines is what sells the news. So please just do yourself a favor and watch the information. I'm always here to be a resource. If it's teaching a class, having a seminar for your clients, your buyers, your sellers, your friends, your family, whatever it is, I'm happy to do that and talk through it. And
The point is there's a reason why the wheel turns in a certain direction, at a certain speed, right? And knowing that reason, knowing the logical kind of narrative behind the surface reaction is a way to quell fear in your clients and even in yourself, right? Not knowing, not having an understanding of what is creating this moment, right? Because it's a moment, right? And this moment will change. It will free you up to have clear conversations with your clients and to be able to work out.
right, yeah. I mean, it's not productive to work or make decisions on fear anyway,
Yeah.
right? And there's always more to every story. There's lots of fine print and there's lots of underneath information that isn't necessarily being relayed, or it's being skewed or turned in a certain way so that it is, Armageddon and doomsday and everything's going wrong. That's not the case. Everything is temporary. These are all normal cycles, economic cycles, housing cycles. It always works out. It always works out. So hopefully you're all getting those. I'll make sure and get an updated list. I'm again happy to answer questions. November 2nd, everybody.
I
Yeah.
just want to say one thing. Please read her email. It is so informative. I can't tell you how much I use her content in my everyday conversations with my clients. And it's peace of mind to know so that I know what the heck is going on, because there's so many avenues of unreliable information that people get. And you may be one of those people that are getting that as well. So if instead of trying to search for reliable information, it's handed to you. So use it. It's there, so.
And I'm happy to break it down too. If you have any questions and you're like, what does this mean? I'm happy to do that as well. So
Perfect.
that's it.
We're gonna hyper this just a little bit because everybody's kind of go. Raha, are you on?
Hi,
Hi, Raha. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. What you
Can you
got?
hear me okay?
Everything's good.
Yeah. Okay. All right, please, hi everyone. Please be sure to hand in your fully executed contracts again and any accompanying paperwork as soon as you open escrow, no later than 5 days. Very important that you submit everything to command so it gives us time to audit your file. If you have a new listing, please submit your listing agreement no later than 2 days from getting it signed. Files need to be complete in advance of check disbursement. And as John mentioned, there's a lot of like correspondence going on throughout escrow. Please make sure that you attach those to your files as well. Make sure that you have all the necessary documents ahead of time so it doesn't cause any delays getting your checks. We all want you to get paid as soon as you close, so please help us make that possible.
Perfect. Thank you, Raha.
You're welcome.
You have a good day.
You too.
Good to see you.
Good to see
Ben, how are you today, bud?
I'm great. Hey, Joey. Hey, everybody. Just wanted to touch a bit on how we had it, and I'm just still getting questions about. You guys hear me? Yeah.
Some technical difficulties.
Hello?
Your voice is pixelating.
My voice is pixelated. Hold on. Is this better?
Yeah. So far, let's see what you got. Go for it.
Okay. Okay. Is that better? Okay, cool. So I was saying, regarding Title Toolbox, I had a decent, really good class about 2 weeks ago, and I'm still getting questions and videos requests for that class. And one thing I forgot to mention, I do want to mention today, was the Title Toolbox does have an option for a lead sheet. So what a lead sheet is, it basically pulls a radius of the property. Either it's your new listing or you have a buyer that's trying to buy a piece of property that lost out on a piece of property. And the lead sheet basically tells you, the life events that happened in about a 2.5 mile radius. For example, affidavit of deaths, right? Those are defaults, those are trustee sales, those files, dispendances, divorces. So you pick your niche, you figure out how you want to go after those type of life events. We can provide the data to you. And of course, those are all active opportunities that just need to be pursued.
So that, yeah, you can pull a report from the Title Toolbox that basically, within the parameters that you set, basically gives you a list of people who had life events, right? Deaths and changes of ownership and all the sort, divorces and such, within the certain time period. The event is a deal.
That is correct. Yes, and of course, we all know life events. Sometimes we're forced to sell, or we're forced to make a move because of life events, and this outlines it all for you. And again, these are available, and just let me know, and I'll get those to you.
Thanks, man.
Awesome.
Thanks,
thank you.
All right. Mary, you here to say hi? Okay, we're going to go forward because we're on a tight schedule. Everybody wants to get to the luxury event that they're going. David, are you on? David or Josh? All right, let's jump forward to agent happenings. New agents. We start with new agents. Is that right? Yeah, Luis and Batani, who was here last week, but I don't see here for this week. Nor do I see Luis. But welcome them both when you see them. They're both exciting new agents starting their journey. Birthdays are next, and I think we have some birthdays. Tomorrow is Linda Shim, who is, I believe, still in Korea, and Matthew Tae Jong Kim. That's something. Is that all 4 names? Matthew.
So Matthew is his
English.
English name.
Yeah.
Pigeon is his Korean name. Kim is his last.
All right, cool. All right, just wanted to make sure it wasn't a typo. Dave Park, Lauren, also Mary Woodward's birthday is coming up. Paula is coming up. She's spending it in Greece. Beatrice birthday is coming up this week. And Eric Bailey all have birthdays this week. Happy birthday. Yay. Congratulations on some closed escrows. The Barentine Group closed too. Congratulations, John and your peeps. Also, Paul and Alan on Lisa Lane, Antron on West Ninth, Tiffany and Rachel on Falmouth, and David Hitt on 75th. Congratulations. New escrows, Joseph Lee, congratulations, a new escrow on Carlton, Tiffany and Rachel on Danecroft, and Barentine Group on Lowry, congratulations on your new escrow. Some closed leases, Tiffany, and David and Charles, and Matthew Lobby, all closed leases this week, congratulations. And we get to new listings. Single family. Transition's a little pokey. Let's see. Monique Caulfield has a new listing on Redwood, 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,127 square feet for 1.799. That's a big number over. What is that? Like $1,300 a square foot or something like that? More. Oh, well, that was quick. All right. And then leases. Leases, we have DeYoung Her has a 3-bedroom, 1-bath lease on Parkton for $4,000 in Santa Ana. Also, Pete Bonacore in Coldwater Canyon has a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,325 square feet for $9,950. Please right on Coldwater Canyon. Anna Lee in Arlington has a 3-bedroom, 4-bath, 2,826 square feet for $5,050 per month. 5,500. Thank you. She also in New Hampshire has a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,180 square feet for $3,200. Antron, I suspect there's a lot of people who would normally be selling who are leasing instead, is what it's the vibe that is that I'm getting here. Antron has 1,100 Hope, South Hope. It's a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, 860 square feet for $3,500. Okay, Pete for $14,000 on Wilcox, 4-bedroom, 5-bath pool. 3,924 square feet, $14,000 per month. I think they would have sold for sure. Pocket listings coming soon. Josephine, you're pointing to someone? Anybody have a pocket listing coming soon they'd like to share? Anybody online who'd like to share? Okay, well, all right, take a deep breath. Everybody's going to be good. Special guest today, welcome, Mindy from my NHD. How are you doing today, Mindy?
I'm good, shall we think?
All right. You can clap for Mindy, it's all kosher. Pretty good way.
Thank you.
Oh, we need the slide.
Oh, yeah, we need the
Boom.
slides.
There you go.
Next. Good morning, almost afternoon. I'm Mindy with my NHD, and I'm just really excited. I haven't been here since everything opened, so it's nice to see all of you live instead of through the screen on Zoom. Thank you. John did share a little bit about the AB 38, and what I'm here to do is share with you how to stay safe and protected. My NHD has been in business since 1994 when the NHD industry was born. What makes us different is that we use 3 levels of maps: state, county, and most important, the local map. The local map is what's going to supersede state and county every time. They're updated a lot more frequently. So we are here to keep you safe with our $10 million of E&O protection. Everyone in the transaction is covered: listing agent, buyer's agent, buyer, seller, TC if you use one, and escrow. We have been in partnership with CAR on your zip forms on the very top box, not an accident, approved, endorsed by them, not just because we have a complete, accurate report, no lawsuits ever, ever. That's the most important thing. So look at the state of California. The light pink is high fire zone. The very high fire zone is the dark pink. So when you see the whole state, clearly, there's a lot of fire zones all over. When people ask you, where's there a fire zone in this neighborhood? Because they ask me all the time, can you tell me where there's no fire zones?
Desert.
Desert.
The middle of the Mojave.
You have to be so careful how you respond, right? Liability is huge. So I always say this is property specific. You put in the property address, the APN number or the seller's last name. That way we pull all the layers of maps to make sure it's perfect and accurate. So don't just on the top of your head say, oh, it's only in, the valley. It's only over here in the desert, because the maps are changing all the time. We've been working with CAL FIRE for the last almost 2 years since AB 38 went into effect. And they're remapping, just so you know, all of AB 63, which is the moderate fire zone. That's coming next. Okay, next slide, please. And I'm going to go fast through the slides. So what went into effect January 1st of last year is AB 38. So anything built before 2010, 1 to 4 units in a high fire, very high fire severity zone, you need the FHDS form. Next. Next. Okay. Go to the next slide, please. You're going to order your report, hopefully every time you get your listing. Please don't wait for escrow to open. Don't wait for your TC to order it. Don't be lazy. You need no money. Call us, email us, go online. Get it in about 15 minutes. When escrow opens, let us know where it is. When escrow closes, that's how we get paid. No close, no pay. There's no downside to ever getting it early, and you need it. How else do you know what to do with the form, right? Okay, next. My NHD is putting this advisory page as soon as the invoice, second page. So if you're in an AB 38 high fire, we're telling you, you're in that zone. And if it's under the state responsibility area, SRA, the only place you go to is CAL FIRE. We gave you the link. If it is county, local high fire zones, it is the local fire department. So just remember, local, or local. Okay, next. And we're giving you their name, the actual fire department, and their phone. So you can, not you, but your buyer contacts. Next. My NHD always does a summary page. This is the next best thing to the signature page. The one you signed that came out in 1994. Are you in a flood zone, fire zone, liquefaction, landslide, earthquake? It's always been on there. Are you in a fire zone? Now it's just a heightened awareness. So I want to point out, look at number 3. Are you in a very high fire severity zone? It's in red, AB 38. Yes, but are you in a state responsibility area? SRA, no. Are you in a very high fire severity zone? SRA, no. So what does that say? Yes, you're in a high fire zone, but you're not in the state responsibility area. Look further down and halfway through, you'll see supplemental fire zone, AB 38 in red. Yes. Local, county means yes. We give you a URL code at the top, that little box with all the dots. When you click on that on our map, all the maps that are related to that exact property pull up Google Perfect Map, not a hand-drawn little map. We give you the page that reflects you're in that hazardous zone. So when you're reviewing this with your buyer for 5 minutes, point out, right? Point out the signature page and point out the summary page. Please make sure your buyer reads everything that's in the yes box, check all of the maps, and click all the blue links. That way they gather all the information themselves to help them move forward on the transaction. And then like John said, follow it up with an email, paper trail, that I've referred you to do this, and that covers you in the future. Next. Next. So, yeah, you can go next one again. There's a lot of these I can go through as I'm speaking. So when the seller asks for the defensible space inspection from either CAL FIRE or the local fire department, if the local fire department says they don't do it, what can you do? Get the fire chief's name, the fire department in writing that they don't do it. we can't push them, we can't make them do it, okay? So we're hearing there are quite a few fire departments, believe it or not, that don't know about 8038, don't have the manpower, don't have the money, and they don't have people doing inspections.
Is that a jurisdictional thing or is it a, like the
City by city.
city by city?
And because we only can tell what the city tells us, we don't know.
The city of LA, it's all the fire departments in the city of LA. They're
Should be. However, just to give you an example, in Palos Verdes, the fire chief didn't even know AB 38 and he doesn't do inspections. And that is a high fire zone on the interior. So that's kind of a problem, huh?
yeah.
So I told them, don't freak out, get it in writing. Next. So this is the link for AB 38 with CAL FIRE, fire.ca.gov/dspace. Next. And all this is in our report as well. Next. There another slide? I know, I talk fast and it's pretty fast. So you can do the next one, please. Next.
They would say the name.
I know why they're in here twice. They shouldn't be in here twice. Okay, next. Okay, this is the FHDS form. Notice that under 3C, the local vegetation management ordinance, we do not have the answers to that. That has to go through your local city or county. That's it. And if they say they don't do it, then you check off the no box. Nothing in an NHD report is going to reflect this local ordinance, just so you know. Next. And I did double check that with Jordan and Gov at CAR. Next. Next. This is the section 4 of the FHDS form. The seller goes into an agreement with the buyer that the buyer has a whole year from the day escrow closes to be in compliant with AB 38. No one has to do anything to the property to be ready to sell it or buy it for AB 38 to happen. So people that are freaking out, oh my God, what's it going to cost for the buyer to go in and clear the brush? We might need a credit. Don't even go there. Every year they're going to need to do this. These homes that have been in high fire severity zones 20, 30, 40 years, they've always had to do this. Malibu, the city goes to the home every year, tells the homeowner what you have to clear, gives you a time frame to do it. When they come back, if the homeowner did nothing, they fine you. Then they come back, they do the work and they charge you. Malibu doesn't fool around. And just so you know, this was 45 years ago when my brother moved in, okay? He's been gone 10 years, but this is what they did that long ago. So this is way before AB 38. Those homeowners already know what's been done to their house on a regular basis. So don't forget, if you're already in a high fire zone, ask the listing, well, you're the listing agent, ask the seller, what else have they been doing on the home, just to kind of help, okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, next.
What's the maintenance plan?
Exactly. It's nothing new. Now, there might be something new where CAL FIRE or the local fire department, they determine if you're in zone 1 or 2, how much brush do you clear? 30 feet up to 100 feet. They determine, not you, okay? So I already went over this. Next. Next, okay. This is the part that was revised in June. So in July, it came out with a yes and a no box because people were leaving it blank because they didn't know what to do. Now there's nothing to leave blank. You either did it or you didn't do it, right? So did you change out the windows to non-tempered glass? Are there any roof coverings that need to be removed, untreated wood shingles? Did you make ventilation on the top of the roof for airflow? Loosen missing bird flashings, changing out the rain gutters, non-combustible. If the homeowner doesn't live there and they don't know, then they need to find out, right? So they can check it off correctly. Because now there's no leaving it blank, just so you know. Next. Don't check the box you don't know. There's not a no, I don't know box. Yeah, next. That's why they did that. They changed it for that reason. We're including the FHDS form in our actual report, which we've never done because you have CA zip forms, but because we're now with the zip forms and this is now part of the whole NHD, we figured we make it easy. Next. And now if there's any trees that you have to pay attention to, like in Pasadena, you can't cut down the oak trees. This is extra information about the trees. Next. Protect the trees. I love this map because clearly if you're not using all 3 layers of maps like mine HD, it's not complete and accurate. Oh, I forgot to mention, it's not regulated, the whole industry. So unlike title, escrow, and home warranty, those are regulated industries, so the reports and the guts are the same. NHD is not. So even though there's a civil code 1103.7 that says listing agent has to give this report to the buyer within 7 days of the accepted offer, the reports aren't the same. Not everybody has insurance, which kind of freaks me out. How do you buy a report and not stand behind it? Not regulated. So this is why we're the best. Next. Next. One more, next. Okay, so this is a signature page that came out in 1994. Are you in a flood zone? A flood zone if a dam breaks, very high fire severity zone, wildlife severity zone for fire, earthquake seismic activity. Seller signs it, listing agent representing the seller signs it, and the buyer. Nowhere on that form do you see the buyer's signature of the agent because they don't have to sign it by law. We added right above the signature of the buyer, that's where it says, I, the buyer, read and understood everything in this report. We added AB 38 advisory because it's a new advisory and we want people to read. Next. And we know people read, right? So that was a summary page we went over. Next. And these are all the explanations. So very high fires in red. The map can be viewed from here as well, and then all the explanations. So we're giving you several areas to see this and read it and help your client. Next. I think this is my favorite slide because it's so clear. If you only are using state maps, obviously it's not accurate, correct? Next. So to keep your property lean and green for the defensible space, it's basically just the buffer from the house to the landscaping. That's what defensible space is, space around your house. Home hardening, when people are like freaking out over the word hardening, just think of your home and the things you have to do to your house to keep it safe. It's not that hard, right? Home, landscaping space is outside. So just think of it like that. Next. Like this was all new to me and I've learned it and it's not that hard and I don't even sell real estate. So if you have questions, I'm always here to help you. The defensible space is zone 1, zone 2, determined by CAL FIRE or a local fire department. If you're in zone 1, you clear up to 30 feet. If you're in zone 2, it's up to 100 feet. And just to give you an example, and you can switch the slide again, next. San Diego, for example, their local ordinance has to clear up to 50 feet instead of just 30 feet. So it depends on if you're on a slope, how much space is between the trees, the height of the trees. So all of these things are factors. And that's where CAL FIRE and the local fire department determine that for the homeowner. Next. That's what I just said. Next. Next. There's some of these are duplicated, sorry. The defensible space certificate is what you get from CAL FIRE or the local fire department when the inspection is done and the homeowner has completed what they were asked to do. It's good for a whole year. And then every single year they will need to do this in order to stay safe. Are there any questions? Next, I think there's maybe one more slide.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
Kind of, it's a great narrative as to what, where, how, and when.
It's not that hard, really.
No, but it's another.
But it's
process.
another, exactly. It's just another thing and people get nervous. But the $10 million protects everybody. So this is why it's so important. And don't forget, when you're the buyer's agent, because this happened yesterday, buyer's agent called, couldn't understand the NHD report they had, asked me to explain my competitions report, which of course I can't really do, and then wanted to know why she couldn't order a second report under my NHD. And I explained, did you write in your contract on your RPA who you wanted for NHD? And she said, no, I wrote seller's choice. And I went, well, I'm so sorry. You have no voice to represent your client, the buyer, and by law, you have to accept what the listing agent wants to give you. So in the future, if you use a little drop-down box and write in my NHD, and we know Joey, of course, knows the difference, but let's pretend Joey, listing agent, went online, got some cheap report for $50, no insurance, no local disclosures. You go, oh, sorry, that's not what I want. Just like the price, right? Everything's negotiable. Thank you.
Something they can buy, let's say that buyer agent really wanted to be sure that buyer.
You put it in your contract and then you negotiate. You never want two reports, and here's why. What if that local report, or sorry, the first report has no local disclosure, like yesterday? It didn't say they were in a local fire zone, but meanwhile, they couldn't get fire insurance locally, only through the California Fair Plan. So now you get my report reflects fire, the first one didn't. Now you have totally screwed up the buyer and they are worried what else is wrong with that first report. It's scary when that happens.
Yeah.
I hate to say it. So she got really upset with me. You mean I can't go and buy it on and pay for it myself? I said, well, I'm not an attorney, but if you do that, I think you're breaking the 1103 civil code. You need to write it in. It's called a contract and you negotiate what you want. So that's the safest way to protect yourself. And I like to teach with risk management, not later figure out how to fix what was wrong. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Stay away from lawsuits, people. Thank you for having me. It's not just lunch, it's from a fabulous sandwich shop, and Kevin, my teammate right here, he brought the sandwiches with some chips and cuties. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.